OpenAI has launched GPT-4o, a faster and more capable iteration of the GPT-4 model, enhancing text, vision, and audio functionalities, announced by CTO Mira Murati. This model will be freely available with additional benefits for paid users. CEO Sam Altman highlights its native multimodality, promising significant improvements in the API access and cost efficiency. New updates also include a more interactive voice mode resembling a real-time assistant. Amidst evolving corporate goals, OpenAI shifts from its initial vision, focusing now on empowering developers with these advanced tools, strategically releasing this update just a day before the Google I/O conference. That and many, many more stories tonight. You're listening to Geek News Central, episode 1742, coming to this Monday, May 13th. I'm your host, Todd Cochran. A big shout out to our primary sponsor at GoDaddy.com. Grab all of our deals at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all of our awesome listeners, you're the real MVPs. Contribute your time, talent, or treasure at geeknewscentral.com/insider by becoming a GNC Insider. We are live and lit with modern podcast apps from podcastapps.com. Join the value for value movement by downloading and using a modern podcast app. Of course, dive into our digital hub at geeknewscentral.com. Don't forget to check out our partner shows, all linked up at the top of the website. Includes the new media show, the GNC Week in Review, the Gadget Professor with Mr. Don Bain. All of them linked there at geeknewscentral.com. Of course, get on board and don't forget to follow or subscribe via your favorite modern podcast app. Sign up for the newsletter while you're at it on the website. You can always join the chat room at geeknews.chat. If you have feedback, don't forget, this is the easiest way to do that. Send an email. Oops, I just hit the wrong button. Send an email. Send an email to geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, or catch me on X at Geek News. That's the easiest way to stay connected. You can find me on Facebook. And again, of course, a massive salute to our primary sponsor here, our good friends at GoDaddy, the longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast. Savings start here. Get over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Lock in those May savings, whether it be a $11.99 domain name or $6.99 a month economy hosting, or $12.99 a month managed WordPress hosting, or a free trial of GoDaddy website builder. Both the economy and managed WordPressing plans come with a free domain, a professional email account, and an SSL certificate for the first year. So really, it's a great deal on those economy or managed WordPress hosting packages. Definitely grab one of those. Now, free trial of GoDaddy website builder. Your choice of personal business and business plus plans. That's a 1 month. That's a 1 month free trial. Again, $11.99 for a brand new domain name. Definitely check out all the deals at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And because of my travel time this month, and because I'm being away quite a little bit, your support is greatly appreciated. We need to go over there and check out or pick up a product or service from our good friends at GoDaddy. And we want to thank again GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at Geek News Central and the Geek News Central podcast. Everyone, I hope you're all doing all well. I am jet lagged just a little bit as we started up the or ended the last show. You knew I was headed for the Philippines. I flew out and went to San Francisco, and then a San Francisco direct into Manila on a super long 15-hour flight. Turned out it wasn't as bad. We didn't have as many headwinds, so we got in there a little early, and it was definitely a great time meeting a whole bunch of creators at PodFest Asia. Was able to even meet with a senator that was there at the event at the invitation of one of the coordinators. I met with some media moguls. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Of course, a whole bunch of folks that were either creators or people that were editors. It was really a great event, and so it was good. But Manila was very very warm, as one would expect. They're going through El Nino there, and some of the days were as high as 40 degrees Celsius, north of 100 degrees. Very very warm. I was in Makati for a couple of the days. Makati's kind of like America almost, cost wise and everything else. I did leave the Makati area, travel around a little bit, got into what I would call the traditional Philippines, and not where all the rich people hang out. So did have a few days, and was able to get reacquainted with San Miguel and San Miguel Light, which was quite awesome. Of course, a few native Red Horse as well, for those of you familiar with that beer, and Tandalay rum. So wasn't without sampling the local wares, as it is known in the Philippines. So anyway, for everyone that may be watching or listening to the show that attend the event, it was just an absolute pleasure, and the Philippine hospitality totally showed through. We had this event was held at a co-working space. I felt like I was in New York City, to be honest with you. It was that modern and nice, and all the amenities that you would think from a co-working space, and the team there was very very accommodating as well. So if any of you are ever traveling to the Philippines or looking for a co-working space, this company that hosted us has multitudes of these throughout the country. Definitely be willing to hook you up with a contact there, one of their executives. And but yeah, great time, and the was definitely on the jet lag side from a presentation standpoint. But it was one of those situations where everyone was a lot of, I think there was 10 of us from the West, UK, Australia, the United States, of course, and then a lot of Filipino speakers. I was mostly, to be honest with you, really impressed with the level of knowledge for those that are running networks and that kind of stuff. So it was a great event. But anyway, back here. So here's my deal. Those of you, if as you remember correctly, I'm only home 5 days, and then on Saturday I leave for London for the podcast show in London. I get back here on Friday. I'm looking at the calendar here. So a show this week, Monday and Thursday. No shows next week, the 20th or 23rd. The 27th is Memorial Day. So likely no show on Memorial Day. And then I start traveling again on the 29th and go remote. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get you some content. I'll get some in. There will be a delay. Probably won't come out on Thursday the 30th. I don't think it might. But do my best with travel and everything else to get you a show. But everything goes back on a normal schedule starting on all throughout the month of June and July. It may take a little extra time off near the end of June, but other than that, we should be here. But again, a few shows off while I go to London, and of course, because of Memorial Day here in the United States. So that just gives you kind of an update on what's going on with the content and the show here. So just a perfect storm of events. But the perfect storm really happened today. OpenAI released their GPT-4o. It's a faster model, and then what's beautiful about this is free for all ChatGPT users. Now, the free users do have a limited number of interactions, but it's curious that they called this 4o. And as near as I went into the API side and was looking at the specs. The knowledge data is still the same as GPT-4, a whole bunch of other things. So what this tells me, and from what I'm predicting now, and I knew they were going to get this out before the Google event, which is curious because I think they're trying to stay ahead of them. I would fully expect then that whatever is going to surface from a GTP5 standpoint probably is going to hit sometime June, July, maybe early August. So they called this the spring update. So I played around with it a little bit today. And if you watch their demo, they basically gave it a math problem. Their app basically put the camera live, not a picture, live on the, which was impressed me in itself, that they did it live with the live camera, and the app was actually, or what appeared live anyway in their demo, the app was able to help them through a math problem. They're going to have a native Mac desktop version, so you won't have to run it in a browser anymore. And that this model is supposed to be natively multimodal, which means the model could generate content or understands commands in voice, text, or images. And this could really be some interesting additions to what is capable here. But I had a conversation today with my phone with the ChatGPT app, and it's pretty impressive. And you can interrupt in the middle of the conversation. You can interrupt it to basically override what it was saying. And again, the difference between free and paid. And again, I think this is the best $20 you can probably spend on any secondary application out there. You get about 5 times the amount of usage out of this. And so we will see. Now, prior to today, there was conflicting reports predicted that they would announce an AI search engine, but that was not the case at all. And so we'll see what happens with the Google I/O event starting tomorrow. But and it's faster. So, we're talking with my team, and we're looking at everything that's doing. So it's going to be interesting to watch this as it. And again, I don't think any more advancement per se, except for these multimodal functions and being able to talk to it and essentially have a conversation. It's a little weird in that regard, but time will tell here. And of course, Apple's also wrapping up an OpenAI deal to bring ChatGPT into iOS 18. And this is a report from Bloomberg. They claim that the two companies have been finalizing the terms. And the agreement would see ChatGPT become another tool in a range of AI features that Apple is expected to bring to iPhones. And Apple, at its annual Worldwide Developer Conference next month, expect to announce several AI features, as you would expect. But I tell you, Apple had an advertisement that basically has not went over well with the community. And what I saw, and my best way to talk about this is, well, they had the ad, and they had a whole bunch of musical instruments, a metronome, a piano, paint cans, just basically anything that you would consider a creator, painter, singer, songwriter, all stacked together. And then they had a machine smash all this stuff into smithereens, smashed it flat. And then they blew the sides out and then opened it up. And of course, there was the new iPad Pro that's going to be available in a few days. And the creator community is like, listen, all these things that you just smashed, we are a, we have built the Mac brand. Creators largely built the Mac brand, GarageBand, and all these other tools that people use for years. Their video editing package. Really, a lot of people have relied on that for many, many years, and it's been a mainstay of the Mac user community. And to basically say that this iPad Pro is going to basically eliminate the need for you to be able to play the piano, be able to have whatever other instruments were in there that they smashed in this ad was kind of a shot in the face. And I'm of the opinion here that has Apple, I think tech users, we have a lot of tech. We have a lot of tech in our hands, right? We're carrying a very, very powerful mobile phones. We're carrying very, very powerful computers. We're carrying very powerful tablets, both on the Windows, Mac, Android side. We're carrying these really heavy machines. We got IoT devices, we've got cameras, we've got the ability now to have smart TVs. We're inundated with tech. And I personally enjoy going to an orchestra. My kids, violin and cello, I absolutely enjoy that. I'm not necessarily a big concert person per se. I know a lot of people are. So it really is one of those situations where who approved and who signed off on that ad spot? And what were they thinking? It's kind of like this insult. You know, I try as much as I can to walk away from tech as often as I can because it's a little bit overwhelming. And I want to be able to disengage. Now, obviously on an airplane, I'm reading from my tablet because it's easy to do so. I consider that a convenience and carrying paper books. I know a lot of people still like to have the feel of a book. I'm not in that crowd. Um, so, but at certain points, we want to be able to disconnect a little bit, right? And them, this message they sent in this ad was truly off base. It wasn't about creation anymore. It was like, oh, and maybe this iPad Pro will do miraculous things for people like me that can't play a piano, they can't play a guitar, that, as far as I know, never really tried because it was never in my interest range to be. My entire family plays musical instruments, so I'm assuming I would probably do okay as well, but I just never had an inkling to do that, yeah, or want to. I'm envious of those that can pick up, my son can pick up a guitar and, he can listen to something once and start playing it back. To me, that is amazing. Shows this very, creative side. And I just do different things creatively. So I don't know. I don't know. Is Apple really thinking the computers are going to take over everything? Maybe. We've been talking about this AI stuff a lot, so I don't know. But what say you? Did you see the ad? Did you not agree with it? But again, I think it was just a bad marketing move by Apple. I could have sat in on the review of the ad and said, "Oh my God, what are we doing here? What's the message we're trying to impair?" Meanwhile, this massive geomagnetic storm that has led to many of you seeing a nighttime light shows. Now, my daughter got her bucket list checked off by seeing the Aurora Borealis in where she was at in Washington State. But this geomagnetic storm has led to some outages, including problems for Starlink. It disrupted some GPS signals and it affected the orbit of the Hubble Space Telescope, which I thought was curious. So the KP index of this thing was off the chart, and people were seeing degraded services. But as far as I know, I was still online. My system never reported a total outage because I have stuff that's monitoring that now. But this definitely was a big one, one of the biggest on record so far, and more to come, I hear. Very, very curious today. There was an image shown on Universe Today of the spacesuit that is going to be worn by SpaceX astronauts um, when they do an extra, when they basically do a EVA, or when they go outside of the Dragon capsule. But what is interesting to me about this particular suit, I don't see any environmental stuff. So I'm just curious, where does the environmental hookups come? Where's the oxygen supply? Um, is this thing going to be designed so that they can only be outside 10 minutes? And it's just a little weird to me, this particular spacesuit. It looks a lot like the spacesuits they wear on their launches, but this is the one they say they're going to do the walk in, where 4 people are going to be exiting the vehicle. So I'm looking forward to hearing more details on this. But for those of you that are listening, it really looks almost the same as the spacesuit that they wear on launches. There's not too many deltas there at all. Moving into a little bit more news here on Earth, Amazon Robotaxi Company is under investigation after 2 crashes with motorcyclists. So the NHTSA is looking into this with involving the Zoox ZOOX robotaxis, where the vehicles were rear-ended by motorcycles after a sudden break. So these kind of issues are going to continue, and we'll see more of them as time goes on. TCL, a company that is not really known for crazily priced TVs, TCL has priced its insanely bright 115-inch, what they're calling the QM89 4K TV, at $27,000. Now, I've got TCL TV directly in front of me that, it's not, it's not a high resolution bad boy, but it'll do 1080. I think I paid like $260 for it or something like that. But this is supposed to be an astonishingly bright and immense. So that tells you where TCL's going. And again, haven't been known over the years for having these super high end televisions. So their entry into this is something to be watched. The talking about those geomagnetic storms remain likely as the sun continues to erupt X-class flares. So NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center said early Monday that a G3 or strong geomagnetic storm warning was in effect until 2 a.m. Eastern. While strong storms are no longer likely and conditions are expected to gradually wane throughout the day, the center says forecasts moderate and strong geomagnetic storms are likely, as are minor storms on Tuesday. So, again, we'll keep our eyes peeled or within and see if we have any more big, I don't know if they call these weather events or not. But on the tech side, Microsoft Places specifically is using AI to find the best time for your next office day. So if you're working remote, you're trying to figure out a day to work with your team and want to be in the office together, Places will help you do that by looking at everyone's schedule. Again, my team is all remote. We only do meetups that are planned, and like once a year. But if you are in a situation where you're trying to meet up with your team, and when and where, this new feature in Microsoft Places will help you do that for the big super enterprise group. Volkswagen has released its battery and motor details for its upcoming ID Buzz and electric microbus. Volkswagen is launching 3 ID Buzz configurations, including a special first edition version. So these electric microbuses go on sale later this year, and they're going to come with a 91 kilowatt battery and a 20-inch wheel standard. I don't know why the wheel size is that important. The VWS and Pro S model have a rear-wheel drive 282 horsepower, and the Pro S Plus can option in all-wheel drive for a 335 horsepower motor. For yes, these are electric motors, and they are going to have a 91 kilowatt hour battery to offer as much as 310 miles on a single charge. And again, I take these uh, these mileage numbers with a grain of salt. They never give you as many miles as they say they're going to give you. Meanwhile, Europol is investigating a data breach after hacker offers to sell classified data. So the hacker known as Intel Broker announced on May 10th they'd gained access to Europool systems obtained for official use only in classified data, including employee information, source code, recon, and guideline documents. Hacker claimed the data come from several agencies within Europool. Accordingly, this data has been sold within a day of it being put up, and they're looking into the infiltration and shut down a specific site where this data allegedly came from. The ransomware scene continues to grow. There's a ransomware called Black Basta, Basta. The Black Basta ransomware has become one of the biggest threats worldwide, according to the CISA and FBI. More than 500 victims in 2 years. So this specific ransomware has reaped a lot of havoc, and it's been around for a bit. Doesn't really say how it proliferates or how it basically gets into systems. Probably some sort of phishing system, but this particular ransomware is still growing and claiming victims. Victims being companies largely, and the tactics and techniques indicate that they're still continued to compromise a lot of systems. Meanwhile, MIT is giving AI the power to reason like humans by creating a hybrid architecture. MIT scientists have devised 3 libraries that can be combined with AI systems to improve their reasoning and contextual awareness in programming, strategic planning, and robotics. The large language, which includes ChatGPT, Claude 3 Opus, process and generate text-based on human input. These technologies have improved greatly, of course, but MIT has now claimed they cracked the problem by creating a treasure trove of natural language abstractions that could lead to more powerful AI models. Abstractions turn complex subjects into high-level characterizations and emit non-important information, which could help chatbots reason, learn, perceive, and represent knowledge just like humans. Currently, scientists argue that LMs have difficulty abstracting information in a human-like way. Well, you watch the demo from OpenAI today. You might change your mind just a little bit on that. They've organized natural language abstractions into 3 libraries and hope that they'll gain greater contextual awareness and give more human-like responses. The OpenAI demo had the AI tell a story in varying degrees of joyful to seriousness and dramatic, and the tone of the actual AI changed quite a bit, which was very, very interesting. Excuse me. According to the Daily Mail, get ready for flights to space. 1.4 billion Dream Chaser plane will take cargo and eventually humans into orbit after passing final tests. This specific spacecraft has been talked about quite a bit. The craft will make its maiden trip to the International Space Station low Earth orbit later this year, carrying over 7,800 pounds of cargo. Along with SpaceX and Boeing, Sierra Space is one of the companies contracted by NASA a decade ago to send people equipment to the International Space Station. I'm familiar with Sierra's, the company, not their space division. A lot of smart people working over there. And spent a lot of time at Sierra's, the office I worked with in Colorado. But yeah, the Dream Chaser looks just a little bit like a glider, because it is a glider. It's almost, it takes on that space shuttle type of view, and we'll see how they do on their first flight that's coming up later in the year. Time will tell. But I don't know about people, at what price point per se. Another big AI feature could be on the way for YouTube Music, some sort of AI feature. And as first reported by Indra, it looks like Gemini extension could be on its way to YouTube Music. Will let you command Gemini play music through your YouTube Music account. It also apparently improves discovery and search results when looking for music. Although the new feature isn't out, it's currently being tested, and Android has already found a way to activate it. In a demo featured in its initial report, Android 30 contributor and known leaker set up the Gemini extension for YouTube Music and Google app. Once it was set up, the contributor used voice prompt to ask Gemini to play some music. From there, Gemini worked its magic to search YouTube Music for results. So the leaker took to X to reveal screenshots from the app's help page, which lists a number of prompts that can be used to launch YouTube through Gemini. So standard voice requests include show me some rock music, find some name, find artist, search songs similar to this, etc. So we'll see with the Google I/O event whether or not they announce that. This is pretty remarkable. I haven't had much exposure to Windows 11, but apparently ads in Windows 11 are becoming the new norm and look like they're headed for your settings homepage. Are you actually getting ads in Windows? When you use the operating system, you're getting ads? If you are, I want to hear from you. Send me screenshots of what these things look like. Windows latest, notice an ad, which is for Xbox Game Plus, as part of the latest pre-review of the OS, and it's in the game. It's here for the initiated. The Game Pass is Microsoft subscription. Not every customer will see the advert, though for now at least, it's only rolling out to those who have chosen the option to get the latest updates as soon as they're available. The ad only appears for those signed in to a Microsoft account. Microsoft explains in a blog post that the advert for Xbox games will only appear to Windows 11 users who actively play games on their PCs. The other changes provided by this preview release are also useful too, including fixes for known issues. But isn't pushing ads into operating systems a step too far? Now, for some really super historical data, and to show you where we have come, Beethoven. What does Beethoven have to do with a tech show? Well, it's being reported that Beethoven likely didn't die from lead poison. A new DNA analysis reveals. There was also mercury and arsenic, but none of the toxins likely caused the composer's death. They'd done a DNA test on some of his verified hair. So I guess historically they want to know how Beethoven died. Lead poisoning definitely apparently added to it. Liver damage. According to his report, having had jaundice and swollen limbs. But anyway, yes, they were able to do DNA analysis on Beethoven's hair. Tesla has rehired some of its supercharger workers a week after Musk basically fired the whole team. They began hiring back some of the almost 500 members of its supercharging team that CEO Musk dismissed last month. Chief among the personnel of return is Max D. Zeger, the director of charging for North America, according to people with knowledge of the matter, who asked not to be identified because its information is private. Wasn't immediately clear how many laid off workers have been rehired. Musk has not responded to messages. So Musk's dissolution of the team stunned the broader electric vehicle sector. As superchargers arguably been Tesla's shrewdest product in the past year, the company convinced competitors to embrace its plugs. After widespread blowback, Mudge pledged last week to spend well over $500 million on growing Tesla's network this year. Someone chopped some cables though recently and needed some money, I guess, for their drugs because they cut all the cords at a charging station and probably stripped it and cashed the copper in. IKEA is adding energy monitoring to its home smart app. The new Energy Insight feature monitors real-time energy consumption, but only in Sweden. However, IKEA is launching its first ever energy monitoring smart plug globally. So you basically have a plug and a plug. You basically plug a plug into your plug, you plug your gear in the plug, and it monitors the electricity. So why not just build this into the socket themselves? Um, so we'll see. And many of us have had energy monitoring devices before. I had issues in Hawaii, and I was trying to figure out what the culprit was for high electricity bills, and never really found it. It was just high electricity bills in Hawaii. And but some of you run into this where the electric bill's crazy, and you want to figure out what's going on. This is a great way to get some insight. Now, GPS, GPS is relatively easy to jam. And I know a lot about this. I can't probably still to this day go into any details on my knowledge on, how to avoid being jammed and so forth. That probably would land me in jail, but I do have some knowledge on the topic, although it's dated. But just to say, with anything, if you have enough power, anything can be jammed on any RF level, to be quite frank. Unjammable navigation is something that, it's pretty simple. If you have an inertial navigation system using technology that was used, for many, many years, you don't necessarily need GPS. GPS can be a backup. Inertial navigation systems, are not susceptible to jamming, although they are a high cost to maintain. And have to do all kinds of calibrations with them from time to time. But a UK aircraft has tested groundbreaking quantum technology that could pave the way for an unjammable backup for GPS navigation. So while GPS is satellite-based, the new system is quantum-based, a term used to describe tech that is reliant on the properties of matter at very small scales and essentially cooled to minus 273 degrees Celsius. So it's basically the system's cools atoms to just about as cool as they can get. And the aim is to use those atoms to measure the direction plane is pointing in and its acceleration. All that combined could be used to determine where the plane is with a high degree of accuracy. So of course, individual atoms are mind-boggling small. A hair is about a millionth atoms wide, and working on this scale is difficult enough on the ground. But the flight demonstrated these atoms could be used in a very limited space and generally challenging environment of an aircraft. Power, bouncing around, all the other things that go along with it. But they said that in 5 to 10 years, this tech could be the size of a shoebox and 1,000 times more accurate than comparable system. So I'm sure now it is very, very large, but time will see. Time will tell. Of course, GPS receivers are probably about the size of a shoebox as well, or even smaller for aircraft. Android phones are about to get a major iMessage feature. Being able to edit sent messages is a popular feature on messaging apps like iMessage and WhatsApp. However, it has yet to arrive to the masses via Google Messages. That could change very soon. It's been shared on X, where screenshots demonstrating how Google Messaging editing features will work in an upcoming software version. Some Android users, including the X posters, are currently testing the feature. Once it's rolled out, users will be able to edit message by long pressing on the message they wish to change. They can tap on a pencil icon located next to the copy to delete, star, or edit. So the original message still can be read, though. And but this could be coming to your phone soon. According to NBC News, AI personas are the future of dating. Bumble founder says money, those aren't buying it. Bumble founder Whitney Wolford, speaking Thursday at the Bloom Tech Summit in San Francisco, said their company is considering how AI can assist and empower women in their search for a connection. One particular use of AI that she mentioned has gained traction online, although not everyone liked the idea. They proposed a scenario in which singles could use AI dating concierges as stand-ins for themselves when reaching out to prospective partners. There's a world where your dating concierge could go and date you, could go on a date for you with other dating concierges, and then you don't have to talk to 600 people. Okay. So how would it do that? Would it mimic how people chat? Um, I don't know. It sounds it sounds like make dating even harder. It really does. It really doesn't make sense to me, to be honest with you. Waymo says its robotaxis are now making 50,000 paid trips every week. Of course, the company operates Waymo One in Phoenix, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. So that's quite a few. 50,000 paid trips every week across those cities, operating 24/7. And it receives an average of 300 bookings every hour. Well, they're definitely doing better than Cruise, which just only recently redeployed some of its vehicles. So, have any of you rode in done a Waymo ride with a robotaxi? Well, tomorrow's the big day. Google I/O 2024 will be all about AI. And you'll be able to watch this on the Google site or their YouTube channel via live stream, and there'll be even a version with the American Sign Language interpreter. So AI is again probably going to have some major announcements, but again, I think it's just going to be AI, 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 as one would expect. And how's that going to integrate into hardware, and what's it going to mean for developers? We'll only see and probably report on it on Thursday. Encrypted mail service Protan is again in trouble. They've handed suspect personal data to law enforcement again. This is the second time. And Protan is supposed to be the service where your messages, your account, everything is super secure. Protan recently removed the claim that it didn't track users' IP addresses from its website. Protan has been previously accused of offering real-time surveillance of users to authorities. In this latest instance, Protan handed over an account recovery email address to Spanish police concerning a suspect believed to be supporting some separatist group. They then handed the recovery address to Apple, which was reportedly able to identify the individual associated with the account. Protan told advocacy outfit Restore Privacy it was well aware of the case, but its hands were tied under Swiss laws against terrorism. Protan has minimal user information, as still illustrated by the fact that in the case, data obtained from Apple was used to identify the terrorism suspect. A Protan spokesperson protested. Protan provides privacy by default and not anonymity by default, because anonymity requires certain user actions to ensure proper offset, such as not adding your Apple account as an optional recovery method. So better know your password over there and not have a backup account. Meanwhile, U.S. tariffs on Chinese EVs may grow up around 25 to 100%. The administration is reportedly set to quadruple Chinese electric vehicle tariffs as part of an onslaught of increased taxes on imports from the country. Chinese EV tariffs are expected to go from 25 to 100%, cementing pricing out of the EV production in the U.S. market. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Yuan vowed on Friday that China would take all necessary measures to defend its rights and interests when it comes to additional tariffs. Notice we didn't take off a lot of the Trump era tariffs. Those remained on, even though people complained about them. Google's Project Starline video conferencing tech is coming to offices. So their Starline video conferencing is a very, very expensive, high-end product. But the company's teamed up with HP to start selling scaled-down versions of the product to lower-end enterprise clients. So the company first began demoing this service in 2021. The first version of it involved a 3D video chat booth or the projection of the person you're talking to. It was pretty impressive, aka a holographic technology that was, but element very, very expensive. So I guess this one is a dumbed down version that will be a little bit cheaper, maybe. Apple and Google, though, are going to roll out cross-platform feature to tackle unwanted Bluetooth trackers. Android and iOS user receive an alert if an unknown tracker moves with them over time. So this long in the work effort to alert people to unwanted Bluetooth trackers may have been planted on them has come to fruition. When an unknown Bluetooth device is seen moving with someone over a period of time, they'll get an alert that reads item found moving with you, no matter which platform the tracker is paired with. Apple and Google rolling out the capability as iOS 17.5 and across Android 6 and later devices starting today. So that's probably something that's way, way overdue. Of course, the cyber attack at Ascension means your privacy and security is up for sale again. Ascension, one of the largest health systems in the United States with 140 hospitals, faces significant cyber attack that disrupted its operations. It was reported that the attack caused patient record systems to go offline, forcing medical staff to resort to paper. Again, cyber attack. What was the immediate impact? Was disruptive. Emergency crews had to divert patients to other hospitals. Staff had to implement manual workarounds. Essential systems like MyChart, phone services, and electric ordering for tests and medication were affected. The companies had to delay some elective procedures because of it. Ascension's response was swift. The health system, which is based in St. Louis, has tried to adapt to overcome this. But again, cybersecurity and healthcare continues to be a super weak point. SpaceX, though, is facing FAA review of Starship launches from Kennedy. Yes, we know that SpaceX is looking at launching the Starship out of Kennedy Space Center. So they're going to have to go through an environmental review. Now, NASA carried out a similar review 5 years ago and saw no issue with SpaceX launching from Kennedy. But since Elon SpaceFlight has adjusted his plans for Starship and associated infrastructure, the FAA has announced another review to assess the impact. And so we'll see what happens with that. And they're hoping to do as many as 44 Starship launches a year out of the Cape. Surprisingly, the United States and China is meeting this week to talk AI, specifically safety and risk. The discussions in Geneva will cover areas of concerns and views on technical risk. The meeting were agreed upon as part of an earlier meeting between the president and Chinese President Xi Jinping. And the discussion focused on the risk and safety of AI-enabled systems. A senior administration official told reporters in a briefing Friday that there were no formal deliverables or agreements expected, and the meeting was an opportunity to exchange of views on technical risk presented by AI systems and directly communicate on prospective areas of concern. Yeah, the Chinese are just going to do what they want to do. For sure. Regardless of any meeting. Apple Store workers in Maryland have voted, not vetoed. Apple Store workers in Maryland have voted to authorize a strike. the company isn't negotiating good faith union claims. Of course, Apple doesn't want more stores being unionized. But the Apple's first unionized store in Townsend, Maryland is authorized the first strike. That follows what the union called over a year of negotiation with the Apple management that yielded unsatisfactory outcome. The Maryland store located in Baltimore represents around 100 employees. So they're going to strike. So we will see what happens there. So I'm going to close this today with an OpenAI interview. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman gave an hour-long interview to the All In podcast. And when he was asked about this summer's launch of the next version of ChatGPT, he said he hoped to be thoughtful about how we do it, like we may release it in a different way than we released before. So that was curious, but there's a bunch of series of questions and answers here. I'm definitely going to listen to this episode. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'll get it on my playlist. But this is just give you a little more insight into where ChatGPT and everything else is going. If you got comments on today's show, it's real simple. geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. I'm on X @geeknews. I want to thank you for your ongoing support of the show. And I did forget. I want to thank James Fletcher for his $2 sustaining donation, Nigel for his $25 Super Kahuna donation, Dale Taylor for his $25 Super Kahuna, Andrew Palmer for his Ohana donation, Ron for $5 donation, Ron Ken for his $2 sustaining donation, and Roger Nash for his $2 sustaining donation. All these folks are on monthly PayPal donations. You too can do that by going over to geeknewscentral.com/insider and determine your $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25 a month donation. We definitely appreciate all of our insiders. We definitely thank all of you that are supporting us by streaming sats on new podcasting apps from podcastapps.com. Any boosts that have come in, I'll read those on the next show. But you too can become an insider of the show and support the show with a one-time donation or participate in Value for Value by contributing your time, talent. And if you can't do that, definitely consider your treasure. Those donations go a long, long ways in helping us maintain a sustainable podcast here. I want to thank all of you again, James, Nigel, Dale, Andrew, Ron, and Roger. If I missed anyone since the last show, I apologize. But again, thank you for your ongoing donations to the podcast. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. And I do thank you. Again, geeknewscentral.com/insider. The link is on the website as well. Go over there and become an insider. And we'll be back with you Thursday for another edition of the podcast. Send your email comments to geeknews@gmail.com. And don't forget about our sponsor, GoDaddy. If you're in the need of a domain name or even something as more powerful, having your own website, which includes a free domain. So check those deals out at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. It's been my pleasure to bring you the show today. We'll see you back here on Thursday for another edition. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.